I think I'd have to say the bond that it helps you form with the community. Obviously, the friendships that you make when you're in the honors college, but also kind of the connections that you have now to Fresno, to the professors, and to activities that you were a part of when you were here in Fresno. And just sort of being a part of that group, that it's special that you're an alumni of a pretty small group in Fresno. I was in the second class of Smittcamp, and it was sort of an unknown at that point. And I got into UCLA and UC Berkeley, and it was a tough choice to pick Fresno State over those schools. But I took a leap of faith, and it couldn't have worked out better. I ended up loving Fresno and deciding to make my home here and stay here for my career. And I can't imagine myself anywhere else now. The Honors College really prepared me for law school in a way that other universities might not have. Law school is sort of famous for using the Socratic method in class, where your professors call you out and you have to be prepared and be able to speak on whatever they're asking you about that day. And being in the honors college, you're in these small classes where there's 20 people, and you're forced to be prepared and engage in discussions every single day. So I was very prepared for that kind of atmosphere in law school. I would tell a high school junior or senior that they need to think about where they're going to get the greatest experience, because it's not just about going to the biggest school that you get into, or the most impressive school that you get into. It's about finding a place that you can find your niche and really thrive. And the most important thing I think about the honors college is you get the best of both worlds. You get a liberal arts education with high quality professors and small class sizes, but you also have this big college atmosphere with the big football games and all the resources that you could want from a big college. I don't know if there's anything I would have done differently. I feel like I took advantage of everything I could have. One thing is, coming in from high school, a lot of us took AP classes. You have credits and you don't necessarily have to take every class. And there were a lot of classes that I didn't have to take honors classes wise that I kind of feel like I missed out on, that I could have taken and didn't. Because each of the honors classes was just such a unique experience, and you would hear your classmates talking about it, and you wouldn't want to miss out on being a part of those. I think the most compelling aspect was the professors that we were exposed to. One that comes to mind is Kathy Adams, who taught our communications class. Every other college freshman that was taking a speech class was taught by a grad assistant, a graduate student who was a few years older than them, and they weren't getting much out of that class. They were doing the regular speaking. But our class was taught by, the head of the department, who was just amazing and made that class something that you felt like it would relate to your career. Our final project was you got to do some sort of speech that would come into play in your career. I did a closing argument, which was just fabulous, and I still remember that as being a really great project, and I wouldn't have gotten that without the Honors College. In this day, everybody sort of knows that college isn't the end point. A lot of students are going to go on to a graduate or a professional degree. And when you're applying for those professional schools, like when I was applying for law school, the Honors College is something that sets you apart, that you can say, this was my experience in college. I'm not just telling you where I went, I'm telling you about what my experience was. And it was different and it was unique. And it made me who I am and who I am as an applicant. No matter where you go to college, it's a transformative experience. But when you're going to college in a place where you can really bond with a small group of people while surviving in that crazy time, it sort of gives you a chance to grow in a really safe environment. So I knew that I could grow and change and look into new things and study new areas, but a lot of times it was going to be with those same 50 people who I knew and felt comfortable with. And it gives you a little bit more courage to say things in class that you're not afraid of, or to express ideas, and the conversations can last afterwards when you're in the dorms together at the dining hall. And I don't know that you would get that experience on a bigger college campus where you're seeing, different people every day. I lived in the dorms all 4 years, which I think it was absolutely great. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere else and get free housing and food for 4 years. By my senior year, I was living in a suite, which was basically an apartment. I've got to be honest, when I visited college campuses, Fresno State had the nicest dorms that I had seen. And I felt really comfortable there. I had a fun time. There was a lot of other honor students in the dorms, and I wouldn't change that for anything. I would just say that the Honors College treats you're treated like you're a VIP on campus. I mean, all of the best professors on campus know you by name. Dr. Rodemeyer is absolutely amazing about keeping track of everybody that's in the Honors College, and you really feel just this individual attention. Like there's people who are vested in your education and who care about the outcome, and you're not just a number. You're really cared about.